right. Well, hello. No, there was no intro today, and that was weird. I don't know where the intro went, but okay. It's Grace and Gossip. This is your girl Crystal XO on a Monday at 8 o'clock with a little Grace and Gossip. Usually we have that beautiful countdown, and then we have the intro, but for some reason that was not available today, so that's okay. That is okay. We are just going to get straight into Grace and Gossip on this Monday, August 18th, and today, it will not just be myself. I've got my good friend joining me again. You guys will remember Ryan Dennis. I told you guys he is a journalist extraordinaire, has worked for NBC, worked for Revolt, CBS. He's just that guy. And he's also just a good friend that I enjoy kikiing with in this entertainment industry. Please help me welcome my friend Ryan J. Dennis. And there he is. For some reason, it keeps muting you.
Somebody's hating on me. Somebody is hating on me.
Cannot possibly be with the decolletage out. I see we both are showing off our melanin.
These last couple of days of summer.
Yes, man. And Haitian Empress, welcome. She says somebody's looking good in sun-kissed. I was in the sun. I went swimming yesterday, and I also was out. I went horseback riding.
Wow.
I was just soaked up all the sun yesterday. And so
how are your babies loving the heat, your horses?
Man, oh my girl, she's so sweet. We had a really good time yesterday. We rode, I redid her hair. We had a great time. So
okay, yes. What was the look? You going for a new braid?
We just wanted to clean them up, She just wanted to clean them up. We put our lock spray that I use on my hair and hers and just cleaned the braids up. Yeah.
I get so blown away every time you talk about your equestrian life.
I'm so excited. I'm working on a project. Actually, you know what? I am going to thank you guys. And you know what? You remember when we were younger, at least my generation, people used to tell you to stay out of the sun, right?
Yeah.
But I just stayed, I was literally in it all day. And I'm taking this bronzed body to Fox 5 in the morning,
Yeah.
Doing my little commentary.
You did the proper. It looks like the skin is just naturally good, but it just living my life like it's gold. And
it's embracing the goodness of God.
Yes, Yes, beautiful.
Thank you. And I miss you. So now you have a dog. You have a puppy that. Well, he's not a puppy anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, he is. My mom has got him in the tuck. Because I said you will not be interrupting this episode like you do every episode.
I actually like it when he comes in. I like it.
My sweet prince. I love him so much. He is my best friend. Absolutely.
Yes, I like when you post him on social.
See, you get it. Of
course.
Oh my God. Did you get rid of the fur babies, the little ones?
No. So Sugar Pie, we still have Sugar Pie's firstborn with us. Now, her son, sounds so funny. Her son, my cousin adopted him. So he's
awesome.
Still in the family. We get pictures and updates on him. Louis, he's doing good, but Paisley is still here. But Paisley has caused an upset. So that's why Sugar Pie can't come in, because Paisley is an upset. So, the chat likes to laugh at them, but yeah, our family expanded, Kane, we had to put Kane down. So yeah, he's on in glory, but he was such an amazing dog, and he really did give his all, and he is in a better place, and we will never forget Kane. But yeah, Sugar Pie and Paisley now have the house on 10.
Wow. Now the comments are raving. You won the skin category, friend. I just gotta give it to you.
You know what? And you know what? You know how sometimes you need to hear something good. I got some good news today, but it's a lot going on, and I needed to hear. So I appreciate that. You guys don't know how much I appreciate that. That feels good. But we got to get into.
He was a gentle giant. Yes,
he was. Just, the best dog ever. I don't think I've ever met a more amazing dog. The chat knows, and Ryan, I am forever. I don't really get starstruck ever. I'm not really into celebrities all the awe of them. I think people have jobs. But I am a huge fan of Mr. Denzel Washington. And I share that often here. But I gotta say, I asked you to come on because this press run for Highest to Lowest, first of all, the press run for Gladiator 3, Gladiator 2, we were kind of getting into some strange territory.
He was going, he has, a man of his stature and his age, he can say whatever he wants. Okay.
He has paid the cost to be the boss.
And we know Black women love Denzel. He never did y'all wrong.
Nobody never say nothing
we
about
love Denzel.
Denzel Washington. Man, but I want to talk about, I brought some photos because this movie had a lot of hype around it just because it is the first time Denzel and Spike Lee have gotten together again in over 20 years. And before we get into, I did go see the movie, so I got to talk about it. We're going to talk about this press run, but before we get into that, I just want to talk about the genius of both Denzel and Spike Lee. And I've got a few pictures that I just kind of remind us, these men.
Malcolm X.
Yeah, he got game. Another amazing Malcolm X again.
Yes.
The suits. This Mo Better Blues is where I first realized that this was the prototype for what God wanted us to have as a man.
That is true.
This is what God was thinking of.
Can you lean into that a little bit more? Because all my life, I've just heard Denzel. But what is it? If you could describe it.
I can. I'm glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. I think as a young woman, because I remember Mo Better Blues changed my life because he's just a beautiful man. First, I just want to say that he's just a beautiful man. When he was voted as People's Most Handsome Man in 1996, they broke down the fact that his face was perfectly symmetrical, right? Not only that, he's definitely a melanin brother. He's definitely just beautiful brown skin. But I think for me, it was more than that. He's very attractive, but he always carried himself with a certain amount of integrity and just manhood. So it's like, even when he was younger, it's like, oh, that's a man. Like that's a man. That is a man. So when you saw him, everything from the movies that he decided to be a part of to the way he held himself during interviews until lately. and just the choices that he made. Now, I'm not saying that he was a perfect man because definitely were suggestions that he was, a bit of a philanderer, but it's not to be unexpected with those looks. But I think that he had a lot of integrity in the way he carried himself in Hollywood. And I remember hearing him say that he, one of his idols was Sidney Poitier, and Sidney Poitier gave him advice and he listened. I think he's a true student of the game. And so for him to be like celebrated in both Black communities and equally in white communities, because the Pelican Brief, them white women were going crazy over Denzel Washington. But he's one of those few Black big box star actors that you never got a sense that he changed, that he became someone different, right? That there's some Alonzo from Training Day all up in that, right? Yeah. You also know when you watch him as a preacher's wife, like he could play different characters. But to me, he always was very grounded in who he was as a Black man from Mount Vernon that loved his mother, who respected the way his mother parented him and the ideals that she put in him, that he was aware that he had to show up and represent that, And so I just feel like for me as a fan, I was a fan of more than just his looks, even though they are untouchable. Like I don't think there will ever be a man that looks like that. But I do think that the integrity and the way he carried himself, it gave us picture of just a man's man that was never disrespectful to others. But you could tell, don't play with him, because there's some BTS of him, checking people, but he always does it in such a gracious way that I always just really thought it was the totality of that. And yes, he's 70 years old, and even still, just as you say, he's earned the right to say it. But I think he understood when to speak, when not to speak. He never seemed to get so caught up in his celebrity that he lost himself. And I no disrespect to those but I mean, like, a different example would be like a Will Smith, who his personality has changed. His persona has changed.
That was the first thing that came to mind, is that who was the, what you're describing is the quintessential leading man in Hollywood. And not only does Denzel personify that for, Black audiences, but he personified it for Hollywood across all genres. And I've never seen him act silly. I've never seen him, like you said, up until recently, embarrass us and be like, why is Unc doing this? Why is he acting crazy? Even down to his family. I think that we haven't seen this happen. And Will Smith was kind of like on that path, but that wasn't Will Smith's origin story. Will Smith started as a rapper, and he's been able to cross over, but I don't think that he lights the pilot like Denzel in a way that, the way that Denzel can still carry himself at 70 years old. Women and of all races, they're still talking about him the same way as what he was 40 years ago. So
I wonder, like, what do you think about the fact that he always said that people would not look at you the same if you wanted to be do movies, that they would not go, if they can see you every night, they're not going to pay to see you on, in the theater. And he never overexposed himself. Like, you don't see him attached. You never saw him doing commercials. You never saw him, at every red carpet premiere. He led his work was phenomenal, and he was very popular, but he also was able to create a balance between his private life and his public life. And that is very rare, specifically at that level. Like, you name some other actors like Tom Cruise. We know way too much about Tom Cruise.
He done jumped on that couch and never came back the same way.
No. So I just thought there had to be Isaiah Washington. Like, well, he was never at the level of Denzel, but yes, he definitely Now, he also has contributed to the acting careers of people like Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman, and that was never talked about. You know what I mean? He moved in silence. It's just like the quintessential man, quiet, yet intentional, makes mistakes, learns from them. He's been very, very clear. There was an interview he did on Oprah years ago with his wife, Pauletta, and he said, "I will never leave my wife." That is not something that we hear men say, specifically in Hollywood.
It was real. He didn't just say it.
He was like, he would not leave his family. I respect, like, as a woman, you respect that. Like, he might have done some stuff to challenge it. He said, "I may do something to make her leave me, but I would never leave her." I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, but in his own way, it showed that he really valued family. You know what I mean? And we see his children following in his footsteps. What do you think about that? With John David is like really, really
he's
serious actor.
It got to be tough to try to fill the shoes of your father, Denzel Washington, and I think that he's cut from the same cloth. There's no Chet Hanks. He's not making.
Touche, yes, example. Because Tom Hanks is huge, but Chet, what is happening? Like,
got a Jamaican accent. Where did that come from? And I feel like he's been really, smart with his roles, and just the overall. And I guess you have that great example of, Mr. Washington making a real stamp in Hollywood and having to grow. I can't imagine what it was like to grow up and your dad is Denzel.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. I mean, that's and then to be an actor as well. So you know you're going to get compared. And it almost seems like John David kind of leans away from that. He doesn't really talk about his dad.
I didn't know. I didn't know for the longest time, and I think it was probably Ballers.
Yeah.
And I had noticed that, wow, this guy's Denzel's son?
Denzel's son. Yeah. Denzel's son. Yes. And he is very attractive. He does not, he looks more like his mom to me. Yeah. But to me, he sounds like Denzel.
Yeah.
And he kind of has that walk that we celebrated, you know. For years. Let me ask you this, Ryan. What was your favorite collaboration, Denzel and Spike Lee collaboration? Because for me, I will say it's Malcolm X. I've liked, Mo' Better Blues was the life changer, but
yeah,
Malcolm X, the fact that Spike Lee was able to take such a historical figure that was important to our community and make it into a feature film that really reacquainted the generation, Malcolm X generation, with his legacy, but also exposed it and educated an entire new generation.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Malcolm X is up there. You know, when you think about the story, I feel like that is our reference point. You know, mm-hmm. when people want to learn about the story of Malcolm X, we look to that film and what that offered. I mean, you can't go wrong with Spike, especially during that time when it was created.
Yeah.
I also loved He Got Game. You know, I grew up with 3 older brothers, and mm-hmm. when that movie came out, that was like, we had that DVD, and that they just played it all the damn time. I'm just like, I feel like I know that movie so well as a result. And it's a great story, and I feel like, you know, we got to see, you know, a different side of Denzel as the father, and, you know, it was an interesting way
to felon.
Right. So and I feel like that was like something that he did right before Training Day, where he really took it off. But definitely He Got Game is one of my favorite Spike and Denzel joints.
Okay. Okay. I haven't heard that. I've heard people say Inside Man. That was not. I like when Spike is able to be really artistic. And so, you know, those movies where you get a chance to see him kind of like mesh art and theater, film is great. There's a quote of him recently where he says that he and Denzel are really like jazz musicians at heart. And I mean, obviously, if you watch Mo' Better Blues, you know that there was a huge appreciation of jazz. But even the way Spike directs, it's very like musical, or it makes you feel definitely uses music throughout it. But the way he shoots the scenes is very artistic, and it's just that's why it's so crazy that he was able to take that and add that to a historical biopic and make it work, you know? He Got Game. That story was like, you know, athlete, shouts out to Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had his name right, but Ray Allen did his thing. And
Jesus.
I just think that to bring a story like that with someone who hadn't acted before, and you had such a strong message. And I think that during that time, it was cross generation. We had the people that grew up in the 90s, but we had the 2000 kids, and I feel like it was just a great message for that time.
I agree.
This was around the time to like the Allen Iverson basketball, like all that stuff. It was just like, it was a time why they created that.
Yes.
Yes.
Chef's kiss. And Ray Allen was amazing.
Yeah.
As Jesus. Jesus Shuttlesworth. Yes. I wish we could just do
what a name.
I know, right? So let's talk about this press run. First, let's start with Gladiator 3. If you guys don't remember, Gladiator came out last year, and Denzel was dropping information like never before. Usually his interviews, he's very reserved. You know, he definitely is a thinker, very intelligent. However, he was just letting it go. He talked about, first he hinted that he would retire, and then he took it back and said he had more to do. He also gave up the fact that he was working with Ryan Coogler on the upcoming Black Panther 3. That slipped out, which Ryan was not upset, of course, because it's Denzel. But
can you really be mad?
Right, but it was a faux pas. It was definitely a faux pas because you don't want to. You want to save that hype for
I mean, I guess the last one we had, Angela. So we gotta have a goat. It's like, how do you carry that story without a goat? You need
Yeah,
somebody that's gonna really drive. And Denzel, I mean, it's a
yeah.
no-brainer.
And I hear it could be Denzel and Will Smith, which would be strange. But I mean, we'll see. But what did you think when you heard him mention potentially retiring?
I
And
mean,
then he just seemed to be very different with that press run than ever before.
yeah. I mean, I look at him and I think about he's been going forever.
Yeah.
For as long as I can remember, there has been Denzel Washington on my screen on blockbuster films, and to think that he's had the trajectory as a leading man for so long and can do so many different formats. It's like, how do you really hang in the towel?
Yeah.
What does that really look like? Are you just going to do less movies? Are you just going to do one movie every 2 years? Because I don't think that he's going to totally step away.
Yeah.
I do like that he recently went back into theater,
Yes.
with
Oh,
and
so bad.
I can see him doing more things like that. I don't think that he's totally out the game. I just think that he's done playing the game.
Yeah.
And I think
that's apparent by the way he's doing these press runs.
Yeah, I can see him being tired of playing the game and him just totally like, okay, I didn't gave y'all this for this long. Y'all gonna start seeing what the heck I really think. Y'all gonna put some respect in my name because I know they try Unc. I know they try Unc left and right. I can just feel it. No matter if you Denzel Washington, I know he's constantly being tried.
Yeah.
And because of the solid man he is, he gave us the grace. But it's time for y'all to know.
It's time. And I also want to, he did, I appreciate that he did really share a lot more about his religious beliefs on this last press tour. He got baptized. That was shared, he's always been very clear about his faith and his belief in God. But I think over the last years, he's become much more vocal. I saw him speak to, there was footage of him speaking to Deion Sanders, football, guys, and just, really giving them the game as that real dude from Mount Vernon, like, I've been around this and been around that, but God had a plan for me. God has a plan for you. He seems to be a lot more just committed to his faith as opposed to playing the game. So what do you think? What reaction? Because you're in news media and have been for so long. When I hear an actor say on this press run, I don't care about being canceled. He said that I don't. You can't be a follower and a leader at the same time. So I'm not trying to follow anybody online. I don't care about that. He's been making these statements are going viral more so than the movie, right? Denzel's 2 cents on this new movie, Highest to Lowest, which I did get a chance to see, and I'll be sharing with you guys my opinion in just a second. But from someone that comes from a more corporate news background, and I think some of these outlets were a little taken aback and didn't really know how to handle, because he is directing his interviews. He is not allowing you to do anything.
Respectfully, he's earned the right to do that. I think that, like I said, I can tell on the back end he's probably being tried in some capacity, and I feel like in order to sustain himself for this long in this industry, I'm sure that there's still the audacity that studios try to play in his face, or even down to like the communication surrounding film, like the publicity and what they do. I'm sure the pressure to promote as Denzel is like, okay, it has to be this kind of number, but I'm like, that's beyond your control. And I think that that's what he may be primarily speaking to, is that he's done it all. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody at this point. I feel like just to have a critically acclaimed movie and a successful blockbuster, Denzel Washington, he's respected. And I feel like particularly he's making a lot of noise with this run, because when he speaks, people pay attention.
Because he doesn't speak. He's not a person that just talks for attention.
So
He's not.
yeah,
That's never been who he is.
so
So
the
yeah,
fact that he's going out of his way to make such strong statements, accurate statements, funny statements, is that I feel like this is his victory lap. I don't know in what capacity he's going to retire, but I do think that, he's probably done playing by the rules that he's played over the last few years. And I think that there's an unspoken thing in Hollywood where we just see actors during these press runs, and they're obligated.
they're
You know,
shucking and jiving,
they're
shucking and
shucking,
jiving.
they're shucking and jiving, and they're doing the most. They're saying outlandish things, and I respect Denzel for just staying true to himself
Yeah.
and for talking that.
And I love it, the fact that he really, what he's really saying is true. Like the whole idea of cancel culture. You cannot. How could anyone cancel him when he said, "I never signed up for what you were doing anyway"? You know what I mean? Like he's there on talent. There's another quote where he said, "Back in my day, you had to really be good, in order to get attention. Now you can be an extreme or just be someone that is just looking for attention, and you could be celebrated." With back when he was, I mean, he's a student of this game. He started in theater. He went to school for this, and he took it seriously. They did play in my man's face with Othello, right? I wanted to go see it so bad, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. But they did play in his face with that. But I love the fact that he's like, even now, because most of America felt like he was robbed when he did not get the Oscar for playing Malcolm X, right? And it went to Al Pacino, not a bad choice for Son of a Woman. But one of my friends made a statement. He was like, that movie, people said then, Son of a Woman was a great movie that year, but it was not, it will not still be talked about 20, 30 years later. Yeah. Malcolm X will forever be a classic. It will forever be the way people see Malcolm X's legacy. So that just kind of proves that he was robbed. But for him to make this statement, did you hear that he said he doesn't care about Oscars? He doesn't care about Emmys?
I mean, at this point, why should he? I feel like an Oscar would not do him any justice. I mean, it will be respect, but same for Angela Bassett. Same for so many talented Black actors and actresses that do career, amazing, defining roles. But when it comes time to get recognized by their peers, it's often overlooked.
Yeah.
And, I think that we've all seen over the last couple of years, we lose so many talented people, whether they're young or old, and we never get to give them their flowers.
Yeah.
And we look at somebody talented like Chadwick Boseman, where he did such a monumental, culture-defining role with Black Panther, but he was gone too soon. And he was up in other roles. So I feel like Denzel, and I feel like quickly, even us, our culture, we tend to forget until you run back to receipt. Like, oh yeah, Unc was doing it. I don't want it to be too late to give him his credit, because for as long as I can remember, he's been doing it.
That's true. I never forget. Because I know I watched there. He had this movie called Carbon Copy. I mean, trust me. I am like, I'm not like that about any other actors. Like I do think there's some other actors that are amazing, but he's just something special. We will not see something like him again. And I agree. Haitian Empress said she cried when Chadwick died. I did too. Just because of what that whole thing, and him going through filming while he was struggling with cancer, him being seen falling asleep, losing weight, being made fun of because of the way he looked, losing his hair, and then trying to cover that. It just shows the way Hollywood will tear people apart. And then when we found out he was sick, he held that. Everybody was like, oh my God, look how we've treated him, And so knowing that Denzel was a part of, I think he paid for his, he stayed with him. He did something. He definitely contributed financially to his time and being an actor and getting him what he needed to continue and not give up.
I love what you mentioned, because, so much of what we see it on screen. We see the performances, but we don't we don't see how people are being helped and careers are being crafted. And because of Denzel making a difference, we got to experience these rising stars like Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the, when celebrity. I mean, I did cry with Malcolm Jamal Warner a few weeks ago. That's still. His birthday was yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's so interesting that his birthday was yesterday, and he's another one. When I don't think that he was celebrated enough. He was always respected in our homes, in our hearts, but I don't think that we gave him his flowers while he was here. And I feel like Denzel, he's like, I'm gonna give myself my own flowers, and y'all know what's up.
He wants God's approval, no one else. But same with Malcolm. And I know, we live in Atlanta, so we were blessed to have met him and been around him. I interviewed him once. But the thing about him that stands out, number one, I don't care what anyone says. The Cosby Show was such a huge contributing factor to my upbringing, right? I grew up without a dad.
Same.
That was the dad I looked to. And just such a positive but real life, good advice. It was just beyond.
Yeah. A family that we all kind of subconsciously welcomed into our homes and our hearts. I feel like the Cosby Show, same here. I could watch reruns of the Cosby Show any day.
I do. I still do. And I still watch it. And the lessons, seeing the mother's input, seeing the father's input, I do think, and then also seeing the preparation for college, but Malcolm specifically was such a, he played such a monumental character. But when I met him, and everyone I know that has met him and worked with him here, always had such amazing things to say. And for him to be a child star, and we're not going to mention no names, but there are some child stars that are not necessarily gracious when you meet them, are less than gracious. And to be a part of what I think is probably arguably the most important television project in our work, in our lifetimes, right? That was probably the most important series in my lifetime was The Cosby Show. I think that his humility and his way of treating everyone with dignity and respect was just very admirable. He had a beautiful soul, and he was not bad on the eye, but he definitely had a beautiful soul and was also, like I said, just extremely, he was a walking legend, and just so I don't meet very many celebrities that are that nice, just nice, good people.
You said a lot. I mean, I can think of a lot of stomach sinking moments where you meet somebody that you're looking forward to, or, you just have an exchange that you'll never forget. And, it is so powerful when I'm still seeing the Malcolm Jamal Warner tributes. I'm so glad that we as a culture can still give him his flowers and still remember how he made an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his character on and off screen, it made an impact on a lot of people. Yeah. And the fact that you can still sit here to today and reflect on that's really powerful. That's something that I hope, as a professional on and off, I hope I'm cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, I believe you are, friend. I believe you are. I believe that people, you are, a fan of cheerleader for other people. And, you're very serious and love what you do, love this industry. And I definitely think that's really one of the reasons I do this channel is I really want to put something positive in people. There's so much bad going on in this world. If somebody can tune in, and I don't care, about necessarily like going viral, because lots of things that go viral are not really important. It's like, what can I laugh at? What can I clown? What can I get mad about? But actually someone that, sows into you, like, this is Monday. If you had a bad Monday, you can still turn it around. Like that kind of stuff. I just want to be that. Even if I am, trust me, sometimes going through things myself, but I feel like I can put in something for someone else. But
Yeah.
I do want to take a little bit of interest.
But real quick on that, that's why I want to say thank you for inviting me on your platform, because your platform, for one, whenever I was doing TV segments, you were one of my favorite people to interview because you got the great perspective. But I love the community you built, and especially with you as an authoress, you are doing the things, and I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, and they love when you come. Our community loves. They're like, okay, hey, Ryan is back. I love it. That little big head bounce on him. But let's take a little bit of a pivot, because I remember seeing, I think that there's so many things that have changed the culture of Black entertainment, right? So we see Denzel is speaking out. We also realize this is on the tail end of this extremely controversial Diddy trial, right? And he is still in jail. He's still in jail, even though he was really cleared of most of the charges that were brought against him. But recently, Sarah from Making a Band, and I mentioned I worked with that group. She had sued him with.
You did? I didn't know that.
I did. I media trained back in my fabulous publicity days.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, can we go back? Can you tell me about that?
we can do that offline.
Okay.
We're overdue. But yeah, I did. I had an opportunity to do that, and I met one of the guys that was an intern at Bad Boy at the time, and they needed somebody to come and media train them. And I wasn't on camera ever, but I did work with them, and even some of the ones from the next year. That's actually how I ended up representing the entire cast of BET's College Hill when they were here.
Wow.
I had done that, but just a little bit, just a little bit on. But I saw some footage of Denzel kind of reprimanding Diddy, something he was upset about, right? And that was like a headline for a while. Like, what happened? There's something happened that their relationship soured. And I wonder, yes, I was around when Kim Porter was launching her magazine. I was, yep. I did things with, she had a group called Three Brown Girls. You remember them, Ryan? And another fellow publicist was represented them. But Diddy touched everybody.
Get in there. She's so ATL. Get in there.
But what did you think about those headlines, and how, to me, I'll just say what I just feel like there's so many more people that were involved. I don't feel like there was any way that Diddy could have been really taken down, because there's so many people that were around or were complicit with things. So I wasn't surprised to see him get off. Yeah. And I feel like this switch is happening because Sarah was foolish for that lawsuit. You tried to do a money grab, girl. It's way too late for that. But what are your thoughts just on where we are now? He's sitting in prison.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I've always been honest, because I'm a former remote employee.
Yes.
And I got to see the inner workings of the system of people that not only work for Diddy, but the people of power that are in close proximity, and how they are in a position of power to have influence. And, I think that, for one, for most of the trial, everybody that testified, they mostly got off. So there's that. There's people that are involved that weren't even in that courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And you think about when I say system, I mean corporations. Sarah was on Making a Band, which was owned by Viacom and MTV. So it's like there's tons of factors that goes into the system of abuse, alleged abuse.
Right.
And unfortunately, she did, which many alleged victims do.
Mm-hmm.
She came in too late.
Yeah.
And it did seem inauthentic, like a cash grab. And I think that overall, Sarah had lost credibility with certain audiences. I feel like there were certain victims in this the series of allegations that, they presented things, and you kind of, as the court of public opinion, you kind of saw through it, and or sometimes you'd be like, oh wow, that's what happened for real. I believe it. And I think that Sarah Stokes, she came on this show married, and there
allegedly sleeping with Diddy.
Allegedly sleeping with Diddy. Choppa said that he witnessed her having relations with Fred from the band,
and did.
And it makes you scratch your head because we also saw that she was abusing her husband allegedly.
Yeah.
And so it's really unfortunate because I remember the band came out and I just thought that for me, I love the Making the Band series. And so I got to see them make the album, and I was hoping that it would go far for them. But then you realize that just like with most bad boy artists, they don't. Despite how much potential they have, despite how successful they are, it just doesn't work out. And it's really unfortunate that the case was dismissed and they said they're going to retrial it. But I think that, we are learning within this process what can be done, what can't be done. And if she felt compelled to speak up about something that happened to her, I'm not going to never, put somebody down or, talk about them. But I definitely think that the credibility aspect of it, it kind of had me scratching my head. I'm like, huh? What the hell say? What the hell on?
The hell on?
What the hell on? But I do think that what we are seeing right now with the aftermath of this case, he's fighting for his name and fighting for everything to make a ferocious comeback if he can. I mean, this is one of the most powerful hip hop legends of this generation. And the fact that the courts laid the rules down, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think that Diddy is going to go beyond his way to get his name, to at least push his own narrative.
Yeah.
And, there's talks of a Madison Square Garden concert.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Do you think, just with your knowledge of being in this business, seeing how quickly things change nowadays, do you see him being able to gain credibility back and to build his fan base back up? Because I'm going to go on record saying, I think he is the biggest hip hop influence as far as like, not artist, but figure.
Yeah, cultural figure.
I watched, even later on, I got a chance to work media train him, but initially I watched that show for he was a motivator before there were motivational speakers, right? So you listen to him and he did make you feel like straight to the top now, don't stop now, we're going up, we're not going backwards. We're going when I wrote the book, How to Win When Ish Happens, I did a soundtrack and a mixtape rather, and I had to have him in there because he was so inspirational. Now, working with him, I did not get a chance to enjoy that side, but I'm always smart enough to know that when I'm working with someone, they're not working with me for me to be a fan. It's business. So I can separate the two.
Exactly.
I don't go in there trying to be all starry-eyed, like, be my friend. No, this is work, and then he don't have to ever look at me as long as the check's cleared. And it wasn't even through him. So it was fine. But, and even with Dirty Money, like, my job was to represent, Kalina. So I didn't care what he was doing, but I was able to see what was happening, right? So my thing is, so I wonder, do you think that he has a chance?
Get your dollars.
Can you see
the Haitian Express?
Yeah,
the Haitian Empress.
That's my girl there.
Get your money. I mean, okay, I will say this. There was I feel like we went from, this was an interesting situation on the Diddy hate train.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had people saying like, this is over. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going to happen. I didn't know what to expect because he's been powerful for so long, and we heard for years that these things were happening, and he still went on successfully.
Facts on facts.
And I do think that it's hard to separate at this point, depending now that things have been revealed in court. You know, we know that, okay, he had a domestic situation. We know that he has some shady business practices. We know he had a system of people that helped orchestrate the whole thing. But I think that the musical and cultural impact that he left, I think that people are willing to support that. I think that people are willing to forgive, maybe not forget, but they are willing to forgive them for a night of fun. If he does Madison Square Gardens, it's going to be historic. There's going to be so many people there for the shits and giggles.
Yeah.
We go to the Diddy show.
Yeah.
Whether we going to hate and make fun or we going to go have a good time, it will be historical.
That's true.
And I think that Diddy, he represents New York and New York rap. He is the cultural giant that he is. And he will have a day. I don't know if he's canceled in New York City. I just don't. I feel like,
especially with beating this case.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that more people have been accepting and forgiving than what we realize. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, he was canceled in some regards. But I definitely think that there is room. It might not be what it was before, but it's going to be something.
I think that we have changed to Denzel's point. Oh, thank you, Tonio. Heart Tonio says, "Love y'all, Miss Crystal." Thank you for that. We love you back. Yes. But
that's true. But he beat several allegations.
Yeah, beat several. Right. Very, very true. Things change, and there's people that have done things that were difficult or that were criminal even, and with a hit song or a hit movie, the culture moves forward. To Denzel's point, you know, people are not following God, they're following hype. And to your point, there will be hype around him because he's the master at creating it, right? And he was found guilty on all the charges except for the federal ones, but unfortunately, those were the ones that carried the real time. I see him really getting out with time served in October, honestly. But I am one that believes there's a higher power.
5 years.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It'd be interesting, but I just thought that connection with Denzel was strange because there was something that happened. There was a video of them Denzel having harsh words with him. He wasn't necessarily having them back because, again, as you say, when Unc speaks, people listen. They shut up and listen. But
you gotta see this clip. You got to see
the clip. I'll send it to you. The clip is wild because he's upset, and he says it was allegedly he told him that he didn't have respect for anyone, and he and his wife left the party. So I don't know what happened. We can't say that, but we do know that Denzel was not at more Diddy parties. You know, that was kind of like the last time he was there. So not sure what happened, but
baby oil for me.
Yeah, all of it, and that's what lets you know it wasn't just. There are a lot more people that were involved because you don't have industrial cases.
And those people got off.
Those people are gone, and those people. If there were celebrities that were mentioned, you know, referred to, and never any of this came out. So, you know, moving to another topic, keeping it in the media vein. Wendy Williams. Wait. Okay.
You didn't talk about the movie.
Oh, the movie. You know what? True. Hold on, I have my notes here. First of all, thank you, Ryan, to keeping me on track.
Because I want to hear about this.
So I'm going to start by saying that Denzel Washington Spike Lee's new thriller remake continues rare Rotten Tomato streak. They're saying this is a Screen Rant article that's basically saying that it did really well. However, the Rotten Tomato reviews were not great. In the movie, highest to lowest, Denzel plays an L.A. Reid-ish character. So he's a music mogul, which is also why I thought about the Diddy connection, because I was like, I would be like that meme of Homer Simpson just like going back into the bushes. Yes, he plays a music mogul that's been in the business for 30 to 40 years. So you're thinking like L.A. Reid, Clive Davis type energy, right? And he has a ridiculous amount of money. He owns a label called Stack 'em Records.
Okay.
Very 80s.
Yeah.
And at the point the movie opens, he is potentially considering a deal to be bought out. And he really makes the same arguments he makes in social media, because he talks about how AI is killing the music, taking the soul out, right? And that technology is robbing us of the authenticity of the art. This is all part of what his character talks about, right? He has a son, and his wife, and they live in this fabulous New York penthouse. Very, very New York. But I will say, and you guys know I love Mr. Denzel Washington. I didn't really believe him because I've been around these people and I know this industry. Music was the way I got into the entertainment industry. It wasn't really believable to me. I didn't see the Stax documentary, but this is speaking of his character in the movie. Spike attempts to make it very artistic. To me, that kind of falls flat. It seems very disjointed. So, not to give you guys a spoiler, because you can figure this out from the trailer.
Do you think they played it safe?
Do
you think they played it safe?
I think they played it really safe, because I think it would have been better if they just really went. But I don't even know if Denzel and Spike could do that at this point in their career. I think like early on, Hungry Spike could have pushed the envelope. There's no pushing of the envelope. So a wannabe rapper who's played by A$AP Rocky basically tries to kidnap Denzel's son. His name is David King in the movie. Tries to kidnap and he calls him King David. It has like religious overtones because he like, I see you as God. It's very disjointed.
Okay.
But he ends up kidnapping Denzel's godson instead of his son. Which is also very strange. If you idolize this person and you named your firstborn son after him, he's upset because he's not given a record deal. And it all plays out in a very dramatic but also very unbelievable way. I won't go into the details of it to not do spoilers, because like I said, you can see this in the trailer. And A$AP Rocky actually does a great job. Ice Spice is in it for like 1 minute. She plays Rocky's girlfriend.
AKA Ice Spice. Did she play Ice Spice?
Yes. And the answer is yes. She played his girlfriend. They have a baby, and Denzel has a scene with her, and he has some scenes with A$AP Rocky that you and I have to go to lunch after you see it, because I want us to talk about. I want us to talk about the scenes of Denzel in the booth with Denzel in front of the board with A$AP in the booth.
Okay.
We must discuss. We may have a special version just to talk about that.
Wow. Okay, I gotta see this.
I gotta see it. You gotta see it. It comes on Apple TV on September 5th. But I wanted to make sure that I respected the legacy that is Mr. Denzel Washington, went to see it in the theater. But I will say there is a surprise unnecessary and unwarranted cameo of Rosie Perez, because you know Spike Lee has his people, right, that are always in all his movies.
I had a Rosie Perez in me, but I was like, okay, just calm down.
The
impression.
Let it out. Let it out. Let her out. Because it would have been better than what we saw in the movie. I'll just say that.
Ooh, wow.
It's not good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for saving my time going to the movies.
I was sad that I wasted. And the movie is long in Spike Lee fashion. He robs your day.
Okay. Yeah.
He holds you hostage along with the ransom money for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
For the last 30 minutes, you're like, why are we still here?
So I can wait until it streams on my Apollo Group TV.
Watch it in 3 settings, like a lunchtime, Monday, lunch Tuesday.
Okay. It needs, because I remember a friend of mine is the bodyguard of A$AP Rocky. Okay. And I remember that they were, doing a lot of prepping for this last year.
Yeah.
And I was curious of what that movie was and when it was coming out. So I definitely got to check it out. How was his performance?
I actually, and this is really, you guys know I'm being 100% honest because of what I'm getting ready to say. I felt like A$AP's performance was the best performance. Most believable.
Okay, so it's.
I mean, he's a rapper. He's a rapper.
But Denzel behind the boards is given. Oh,
it's given.
Wow.
Yeah. No, this is not the move. It. To his benefit, like
who should have did it?
That's what I was trying to think of. Like, you need somebody that has, like, you know what? This is gonna sound crazy, but if you guys see it, you'll get what I mean. I needed like a Dame Dash type character. I'm not saying that Dame can act, but I'm saying I needed.
I get what you're putting down.
That has the music industry swag.
Yeah, I get it.
Because Denzel never has that. Even let me just talk about something because I don't want to spoil the people that do see it. Even the way he is dressed. Now, Denzel he's not known for his fashion, right? At all. He's gonna wear a black t-shirt and some nondescript pants and some thick tennis shoes. But in the movie, those music executives don't play. This business is built on hype and being particular and and having that type of swag, and you don't get that from him at all. Because I'm like, this is basically like a L.A. Reid type story, and I don't get that.
Every time you say that, I crack up just a little bit.
And I gotta say, we did the TLC movie.
Yeah.
Crazy Sexy Cool. L.A. Reid was there quite a bit, and
yeah.
This is Rolling Stone's. No, this is NPR's review. Now, this is a remake, so this is not. The writing to me was horrible, and I'm a writer, so I'm real picky on writing. But this is a remake of Akira Kurosawa's 1963 movie High and Low. That's another thing. So Denzel got the script first. He took it to Spike, and that's how this happened. It says Lee's latest joint, because he always calls him a Spike Lee joint. Highest to lowest isn't near perfect, nor does it reach the creative heights of his best work in 4+ decades of filmmaking. But unlike his 2013 remake of Old Boy, it demonstrates its reason for being. See, he is reunited with Denzel. I guess Rosie Perez for some reason. It just Andre Harrell either. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
Okay. Okay. I think that it sounds like a good idea.
Kind of.
But
I was concerned when I saw the trailer. I was concerned when I saw the trailer because he is playing a very different character, and I think he can play anything. But this doesn't. Maybe at
What
this
is the
point,
pressure then? That explains it.
I think at this point in his career, he didn't. I don't think he wanted to embody that character.
That explains like all right, I did it. This is equivalent to Mary J. Blige's last tour.
Jesus help us.
She said, all right, y'all gonna get this.
She said,
get these 1-2s.
Mary makes me be like, I just want to give you the money and be like, girl, go sit down. It's okay. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Don't do it. Just take the ticket price. Just Mary, it's cool. We good.
We good, Mary. You don't gotta go up there.
You ain't gotta do it. No more. Take the boots off, Mary. Take them off.
Mary J and her bad knees can call it a day.
She just seems like a really upset Popeyes worker.
Yeah.
On stage. Like she does not want to be there.
Yeah.
Denzel, he didn't give me music exec.
I don't know what
we were talking about ASAP Rocky always calls himself Pretty Flacco.
Your comments are off the chain. Your comments are off the chain, Crystal.
Can do checks. I ain't gonna lie. It would be bad if you're up there throwing yourself around to give money to your ex-husband who really don't give a damn about you. That would be, I would be sad too.
All right.
I would be so sad. I'd be so sad.
Insane.
That's horrible. Zero joy. Not even zero energy.
Yeah.
She don't want to be there.
Throw that cash in the circle.
I remember I saw Ryan. I went to see Strength of a Woman when Mary performed here, and the next day, because it was like the second week of May, the next day, Mary J. Blige on Mother's Day, Mary J. Blige was the featured guest at the strip club.
Oh wow!
And I remember thinking, yeah, she doesn't want to be there. I don't know why she has to. Yeah. But what is the strip club here that has the brunch? It was the most ghetto strip club, and she was there for the brunch on Sunday for Mother's Day.
Wow. She I feel like she's still moving the same how she used to, even though it's outpaced her.
It's definitely outpaced her.
And we are seeing, what it's like for. She could have did what Janet did, but she's doing what Mary's doing. Mary tried. Mary tried to marry for love. And sometimes that does not work out. Yeah. I just think about marry for love, the Negro will play in your face. Yeah. I think about she's part of the Diddy era. And she is the Diddy era. He created her. I mean, not created her literally, but he put her together. He was her A&R. She was one of his first projects. So, sorry, I went out for a second. It looks like. There you go. Yeah, and she definitely. It wasn't Blue Flame. It's I cannot think of the name of that club. My question is why is she dancing? She never was a dancer in the youth. Now in her golden years, she wants to dance. But is she really dancing, or is she just kind of throwing herself? Not really dancing. There's no choreography. Real Love was the one video that she danced. Everything else she just kind of. Yeah, and I wonder what that thing is with her and Misa. That's the real tea. Yeah, what happened with them? Because they've been friends. Well, frenemy, I guess friends, fake friends for years. Fake friends is insane. And she has unapologetically cut that publicly. Misa tried to get some money, and she didn't get the money. Misa, I would say out of the two, I trust Mary. I feel like Mary is authentic. Misa spoke out against Diddy, but yet she was there with him when he went to court. She said she was there with him because of her son. Yep. Yeah. It just ain't making sense to me. It's given, yeah. I definitely had some questions about that when she came out her boot, and he played And it kind of feels like the fact that she had to fall out with Mary, and we found out that she knew the girl that was in the Stampede long ago with Howard. It's kind of like, all right, Misa.
Yeah. We look at it. We see you.
We
see
see
you,
you,
girl.
We see you.
We see you. So yeah, I trust Mary way more than Misa, and Mary's unproblematic.
Yeah, she's
so Mary doesn't like. Why would she start talking trash on the internet now?
Yeah,
she in her mid-50s. She waited until now to do that.
No.
Yeah, no. I don't believe it. Yeah, we see each other. Mary wants peace and rest.
Misa said, "I need a quick 5 mil
because my son is grown up, and this Negro is behind bars,
and we still gotta wear these Fendi boots.
We've got to show up in the latest fashions.
We need every fashion deal."
and then it was over a guy too. It was over a former client. Kind of sort like something in the water ain't clean. Something in the milk ain't clean.
We will never know, for real.
No. But okay, so let me ask you this before we get out of here, because I know we've been here an hour. What that's Scorpio Mo chiming in. Thank you for hanging out, Scorpio Mo. What do you think about Wendy Williams? Wendy Williams is 61. First of all, is it just me? Or does she look further than 61?
I mean, I think that we started to see the decline of Wendy Hill when she passed out on TV.
Yeah.
Dressed as, the Statue of Liberty. I think that was the real decline. And it's tragic to see somebody like her go through this. I think that conservatorships are so interesting because it seems to me to be a money thing. It seems to me that they try to flag her overspending and being careless. And we see, somebody like Amanda Bynes to compare it to people in Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always tied to the money. But then you get people, in the case of somebody that like Wendy, she's constantly being told that she's mentally unstable as well. But I'm like, is it unstable enough where her family can't take care of her? Why is that the case? Why can't she just be in the special care of her family? Why does she have to be seemingly uncomfortably uncontrolled by a system of people that don't really seem to appear to have her best interests genuinely? And the fact that her family speaks out about it is really sad and tragic. And, I would think that why can't her son care for her? But apparently, she wasn't the same after that divorce. She was never the same.
No, she wasn't.
I think that she could be medicated. That's what I see. I see someone that she's taking different things. She's clearly not in control of her daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're seeing. I feel like she, Wendy she had an era where she was appearance wise, she did the thing, but I'm just like, no, we're seeing the results of somebody aging.
Yeah.
And
but also aging with, I believe a particular form of early onset Alzheimer's. So, and I do think just this past week, she was, they had a court hearing and they reconfirmed the conservatorship, right? So there's obviously some things that we're not privy to because she remained, and I will say, we all fought, well, not us, because, Black people, we didn't get up and go down there and protest and stuff, but Britney Spears fans did protest the conservatorship. And every day when I open Instagram, I wish it never happened.
I was one of those fans.
Did you?
Well, I didn't protest, but I covered stories about it, and I covered the topic a lot. So that's why I'm like, I
You
never really
continue.
would have seen this coming for Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
I didn't see it for Britney Spears, but I think that particularly in this case of Wendy, it really presents how complex it is to prove to the court that somebody can take care of themselves. And I just think that it's weird that you don't want to say that she's being held against her will, but she's not able to move freely as it seems. And she's speaking out about what's happening to her. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the Lifetime documentary that she did,
That was not good.
I couldn't finish it. It was too hard to watch.
Yeah, it actually worked against her. This is my question, because there's actually been some reports over the last couple of days that Gladys Knight's family is some of her family is saying that she's not being taken care of correctly.
Story, yeah.
You saw that?
Mm-hmm.
And also John Amos, there were from Good Times, there were many reports that he was not being taken care of correctly by his family, right? And so I guess, you would, in a perfect world, would think that, when we get older, our children would take care of us, or really your children, because your siblings, that's not really their job. You know what I mean? Your children, or someone that you have taken, a spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the event that there is not a child that is willing to take on that responsibility, because there could be a fractured relationship, and there may not be I don't trust spouses at this point, because married, I mean, look what would happen, you know what I mean? Like, spouses can, so what, and I agree, Tammy says that's why you need a healthcare power of attorney. Absolutely. But when a person is in the space of having a unhealthy mental, their mental health is under duress, like, they're not really able to make those decisions correctly. They're not of sound mind to make that decision. So I don't know what the answers are. I know it's hard to watch, but the reality is there was alleged drug abuse. Well, no, she's not alleged. She acknowledged being.
Yeah, and alcohol is, her dementia is apparently alcohol induced. And I think that, what's most sad to me as a fan, not just someone that's observing, I could tell that even though her husband cheated on her, that was the love of her life.
It was the love of her
life. And I feel like she has been spiraling ever since from a broken heart.
Yeah.
And I also see that, she was one of the most influential daytime talk show hosts of this generation.
She was.
And so, it's hard to see someone who was being operated. Her husband was her manager. They built that empire together. And then when it crumbled, everything else crumbled. And
Hindu was also Mary's manager.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dang.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the spouses. I did interview Wendy before the first Lifetime project, and it's actually on this channel. And Wendy talked about her ex for most of the interview. And I recognized her as a woman. I recognized a woman that is just still hurt over her ex-husband. I definitely relate to that. And you said, I do think people can decline from a broken heart, right? Because when you have that level of success and you want to share it with someone, and that person doesn't want to share it with you, she probably felt like, what am I? She was lost without him. She became so codependent on him.
And her narrative on her, I'm going on a date. I'm looking for, like, she was pushing it, but it's just like, no, she was trying
to find some oxygen elsewhere, and I think it's just really sad. And I also, heard that he was getting a divorce. I don't think good can come to you when you do people wrong like that. But also when people want to leave, you got to let them go. So she had to let him go. He had a full baby and had moved on, you know. It's just very sad. Really quickly, Hey You There says only lucky one right now is Kelly Clarkson, unfortunately. Can we please talk about that?
Yikes. Yikes. Because Kelly Clarkson, she got her own Mary J. Blige story.
She does.
And, you know, I mean, Kelly is one of those cool white girls.
I agree.
That, you know, her music, it hits, and it's coming from a place of soul.
Yeah.
And she don't bother nobody.
She don't.
You never hear her talking crazy about nobody.
She just wanted to be loved.
And from what I've seen in the reports is that the husband started with the assistant.
Cheating with her assistant, said the assistant was a special person he found his special person with her assistant who was having an affair with her husband who became her ex-husband. He then took her to court and got alimony from her. And that was painful because not only have I been cheated on and I've been abandoned, but now I have to pay for your lifestyle. Jesus. Yeah. But he was
the manager. He was the manager. So we don't know what parts of her career he was responsible for in the later half, you know. But yeah, it's incredibly sad because that's still the father of her children. And
no, they did not have a prenup. They did not have a prenup. And you're right. They're the father of children. So it looks like the court was going to award whoever is the primary breadwinner is going to have to support. A trouble. How disgusting. But yeah, but then to hear that he passed away from cancer.
Mm-hmm.
That is very fast. I mean, she was just on the show looking like she had been.
Yeah,
she was going through it, and I get it. She's going through it. She's heartbroken.
She has 11 jobs. You know, she is someone that she has been able to be on daytime TV, nighttime, primetime television. You know, singing competition shows, Christmas specials. She has been able to be a global superstar on television, and I feel like she may have been doing all of that to, you know, feed that beast of whatever she was going through, you know.
Yeah. It's that her story is sad to me because she obviously had a very painful past, right? Like you mentioned, her songs always hit because you could feel the pain, you know. There's a couple of her songs that I can't put them on because I you know.
Yeah.
So she had a very painful, you know, past that she had shared and kind of expressed through her music. And then to think that she's on top and still all of us want love and want to be, you know, want to be appreciated, you know, outside of the fake, the world that buys your music, to have, you know, love, and then for love to betray you that way. I can't, and then to have to deal with it publicly.
Yeah, because she's still very private, you know.
It is, but I mean, the situation got out, you know, outside of her, because he was out with the woman. Like it was kind of like with Wendy's. Kevin and this lady were out at the beach with the baby. Like it just. So I guess the lesson in that is that, you know, regardless of who comes into your life, you know, God gifted you with life, and I think we always have to be our best. You are the most important person in your life. You know, you are the most important person in your life, and putting someone else, and it's very difficult when you've been married that long. They were married a long time. Like I don't even understand people that betray someone that they've been with that long, and like that's just unbelievable. But he passed away from some type of cancer, and he was not very old. Like, so I don't know. It can't feel good to leave this earth knowing you've done someone wrong like that.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know what the last conversations were as he prepared for his final journey.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that Kelly probably protected him for the sake of their kids.
Yeah.
And she continued to be in our faces
Yeah.
with so much grace. I mean, I feel like I just know that Kelly, this is going to be an incredible part of her, well, a defining part of her journey.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, you know, how much stronger she's going to be, hopefully, as a result of this.
I hate that. I really hate that. And I know, but I just hate that women have to go through so much pain. And then people say, it's going to make you stronger. I don't want to be stronger. I don't want to. What if she doesn't? Kelly said, you know, she's a fighter. She probably don't want to be stronger. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
life be lifing. And it just,
you know, we're waiting for it. We waiting for that album. We waiting for that thing that's going to be like, okay,
there it is.
Kelly or Aretha Franklin.
There. turn that pain into creativity and help other people.
Yeah, and before this all was announced, she had her final days of her tour that was cut short, and she had some very emotional times on stage. And you know, I think that regardless of where they were in their relationship, this is still very heartbreaking to her.
Yeah, so her children's father, like, it's just, sad, and our prayers go out to her and her family. And it's unfortunate that the negative will always be the bigger story.
Somebody said, I feel like she'd be performing sadness all for the kids.
Is Kelly sad about it, ma'am?
That is too funny.
Well, I want to, first of all, thank you, Ryan. It has been amazing, as always, to hang out with you on a Monday. And I want you to watch the movie, and then you and I are going to go to
September, though, right?
Yes, September 5th.
Because to confirm, I'm not going to the box office to see this.
No, I don't want you to. I walked so you could run, okay? Run away from that. I walked and sat there and wasted my weekend so that you don't have to do that. So definitely don't. September 5th, we will reconnect. We will go to lunch.
Yes.
We will talk about it, and then we will have you back. I want to hear all about your new position. Congratulations again on that. I'm so excited for you. Yes, you know, you cannot keep good people down. God always opens a door, and usually it's a better opportunity than what you were doing before that. You just have to give it to him and look at you.
You know my heart, and that means a lot. I don't want to get emotional, but I appreciate that, and I received that.
Yes, and we will chat about it, all of it offline. So we want to thank you for hanging out. I want to thank you guys in the chat. If you're watching the replay, please let me know what you think. Did you see Highest to Lowest? Remember, if you have not, I don't want you to spend the time that I did. And this is no disrespect to Mr. Spike Lee or Mr. Denzel Washington, because they're both amazing legends. But this particular movie, I would say utilize your Apple TV and utilize it. All right. Or just go buy a ticket and then go to a different movie. You know, don't do that to yourself. But let's come back and talk about it. There's so much more happening. Ryan, hopefully you can come back next month and we can talk about all the juicy things that we always do.
Yes.
So we wish you adieu, but we know that you will be back soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Crystal.
All right.
Thank you, audience.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. All right, XO audience. Thank you guys for hanging out. Remember, don't go too far, because I will be back at 10 o'clock with a very important review on King's Council, episode King's Council. We're going to talk about it at 10 o'clock. So all of you, hopefully grab a snack, you know, go do what you need to do, put your hair up, and then come back at 10 o'clock because there's some things that we need to discuss as a family about King's Court. Yeah, so I will see you guys soon. Give me, looks like 36 minutes to be back. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, let me know your thoughts. Leave some good comments in the chat for our good friend Ryan, and I will see you guys soon. This has been Grace and Gossip, and we will be back next week. But like I said, tune in at 10 o'clock for King's Court review. All right, I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. All right.